Hi guys, I'm Ahana and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My original plan for this video was to tell you all about the launch of our app, Haut. And for those of you who follow me on social media, you might already know that unfortunately, Haut did not come out. But have no fear, because Clear is here. Wow, that was really cheesy. These past couple of weeks have been such a wild ride, so let's go from the beginning. I talk more about this in my How I Got Into Y Combinator video, but essentially we came up with Haut in 4 days. And we spent about 20 minutes trying to brainstorm a name at the very beginning. And we did this by furiously typing the word skin into Google Translate and randomly changing the language to see what popped out. And in the end, we settled on the German translation of skin, which is Haut, as it was monosyllabic, there weren't too many companies who already had that name, and at the time we really just thought that there are so many more important things to focus on that even if we don't absolutely love the name, it'll do and we can live with it. We were conscious that it was a little hard to pronounce, and because of this, in the customer discovery interviews I did back in January, one of the questions I actually asked was, how would you pronounce H-A-U-T? And we had a whole range of responses from Haut to haute to haute, and in the end, I think it was only about 30% of people pronounced it correctly, and most of those were actually German speakers. So we knew that the pronunciation was a bit of an issue, but we noted it down. It's something that we kept an eye on, but we never really took any proactive steps to try and rectify. In the next couple of months, we did notice that when we spoke to people about our startup, they would either just avoid bringing up the name entirely and refer to it as your startup or that skincare project you're working on. And for those who were brave enough to take a shot at saying the name, most of them didn't get it correct, and the few that did try also stumbled quite badly when they tried, so it was just a bit of an awkward interaction in general. After this kept happening week after week, month after month, Ben and I finally in March did schedule a name brainstorming session. However, that ended up becoming the meeting that just got pushed back week after week after week. And I think after about 6 or 7 weeks, we just decided that this meeting's never gonna happen. There's no point keeping it in the calendars. Let's just focus on building an app to the highest standard we can, and let's deal with the name in the future. We'd also sort of accepted that Haut was our name, and we tried to tell ourselves that it worked for Nike and it worked for Adidas, that the pronunciation was a bit of a problem. But deep down, I don't think either of us actually believed it. Haut also has connotations of haute couture or high fashion, and that's not really what we're about as a brand. For us, our focus is on transparency and learning and empowering consumers to make the right decisions. And we wanted a name that reflected those attributes more closely. So our launch date was set for Monday the 7th of June, and to account for App Store submission time, we'd set ourselves an internal deadline of getting the app submitted to the App Store on Thursday, 3rd of June. Conveniently, on the Thursday itself, I decided to have an existential crisis and realised that it would be harder to rebrand our app after it was out, and if there was a good time to rebrand, now was the time. So on the day that we're submitting to the App Store itself, I just try and come up with some new names after putting off this brainstorm for months and not being able to come up with anything better in the last couple of months. The first name I came up with was Dropper. And I love Dropper. I thought it could be like Twitter, except with a skincare dropper in which people apply serums to their faces. And I had all these dreams of playing up the drops in the app where you could drop a comment, drop a review, drop a new post, drop a routine. And I was so excited. But to my major dismay, every single community I asked to vote on Haut versus Dropper unanimously chose Haut. And this included the beta community, my connections on LinkedIn, my friends and family, the YC network. Everybody really hated the name Dropper, and I was really sad about that. So I called Ben and I said, look, let's just have a brainstorm. Let's do it. Let's set another 20 minutes and just try to come up with something. More names actually came out of this brainstorm than I think had come out from us passively thinking about it for the last 6 months. And in the end, there were 4 that we wanted to test on people. We had Haut, Droplet, Halo, and Clear. My LinkedIn polls had been getting some good visibility, so I decided that was probably the quickest way to get results. And so I created a poll with these 4 names, and Clear was my favourite from the start, but it was in fact nail-bitingly close while the poll was live between Clear and Haut. It was also very close between Halo and Droplet, but they both had much fewer votes than either Haut or Clear. And the thing that got me really excited is that Haut had familiarity bias working in its favour, whereas Clear, as a brand new name, it held its own and people were voting for it. But for most of the duration of the poll, it was actually lagging behind by 1 or 2 votes. And I remember just sat there staring at my LinkedIn, praying that more people would actually vote for Clear, because I really wanted to change the name. Finally though, in the end, Clear just snagged the lead, and we had about 7 hours remaining till our submission time. And so with my new amateur photo editing skills, I created a logo in about 30 seconds and decided that we're just going to use this. We ended up submitting to the App Store at 2 AM later that night, and that was really it. We'd rebranded from Haut to Clear in a matter of a day after 6 months of sticking with Haut. Even though the rebrand was probably a bit more hectic and last minute than ideal, Ben and I are super happy with it, and to us, Clear really encompasses the transparency on the app and the transparency that we're bringing as a social media platform, and also alludes to the endless pursuit of clear skin that I know resonates a lot with me. It's also easy to pronounce, so that fixes the problem that we had with Haut, and I think overall just fits our branding much, much better. So that's it. Out with Haut. Clear is here. Wow. I don't know what's gotten into me today. I'm really loving these cheesy one-liners. To those of you who contributed to my LinkedIn polls during that 24-hour period, I am honestly so grateful for you, because you really helped us make that decision. So thank you again for those who did participate. Now that I've talked a bit about the launch, let me tell you about the app itself, as I haven't really explained what it does or in detail how we came up with it, and it might not be very clear to you guys. Sorry. I had to. So if we go back about 5 years, when I was 16 years old, I started to suffer really badly with acne. There were times when my entire cheeks would just be inflamed, or my forehead would just be a complete mess. And people would ask me what was wrong with me and try and make all these herbal suggestions, and it really affected my confidence and my self-esteem growing up, especially as a young woman. And all your friends are on Instagram posting pictures and taking selfies, and it's embarrassing. You don't want a record of you looking a certain way. Even the feeling of accidentally touching your face and it just sends a shooting pain, or having to wear makeup to cover it up, worrying that someone will see your acne or your scars, and then adding the makeup to it just makes it worse, and it gets more inflamed and irritated, and it's just a bit of an endless cycle. And so age 16, I saw my first dermatologist. She prescribed me some topical retinoids, some SPF, and some antibiotics. And at the time, I just had no understanding of what was causing my acne or how to really use the products she'd given me. And so I remember I used to pull up the differin gel in my hand and spread it all over my face. And at the time I lived in Singapore as well, where it's hot and sunny all year round. And I hated the feeling of the SPF she gave me, so I'd go out there with my flaky face and let it burn in the sun, and it made my acne worse, and I just for the life of me couldn't understand why. But at the same time, I also had no education behind skincare, and I didn't have an understanding of how these products were meant to work or how important using the sunscreen was. So because of this, because my acne was getting worse after seeing a dermatologist, I decided to just look online, and I learned about how to use differin gel and why sunscreen is so important. And over time, I realized that there was such a wealth of information online, and there were a lot of GPs and dermatologists, cosmetic chemists, and beauticians all providing their advice, and also just regular people who've experienced these problems firsthand, and from the pain they've suffered from their own personal experiences, some of the advice I was finding was actually pretty helpful. And that's really what got me into skincare online. And so I've been watching skincare YouTube for years. I'm part of a load of Facebook groups. I'm always trawling the Reddit skincare addiction threads, and there's just so much information. And at the beginning, as someone who knew very little about skincare, it was on the one hand amazing to see so much information, but on the other hand, it was a little overwhelming, and I didn't really know where to look. And sometimes when I'd read advice, I'd see conflicting advice, but I wouldn't know what was right for my skin type, and I didn't know who was advising me. So I identified that whilst there is loads of amazing information online and loads of products to choose from on the market, there's no easy way of knowing, firstly, which products you should be using, and secondly, knowing whether these products are even working for your skin. So the very first version of what was then called Haut that I dreamed up was an app in which you could scan your face, and based on the quality of your skin and on a short questionnaire, it would recommend which existing products on the market would be a good fit for your skin. I know that some brands or companies already have these services, but my idea for this would be that it was brand agnostic, so it's not to push a particular agenda, but it's truly to help you navigate this very vast and very saturated market. However, as soon as I started talking to people, I realized that there was very low trust in an AI recommendation, and even if an AI did spit out a recommendation, people still wanted to read reviews. It turns out that reviews are actually the key driving factor behind a purchasing decision. So I knew I had to build something that showed people reviews, but that doesn't solve the problem of there still being too many reviews and too much information, and people not knowing which information is applicable to them and their skin type. And of course, there's still the problem that after spending all this time researching and money buying, once you've got the skincare, it's hard to know if it's actually working for you and you're seeing any real differences to the quality of your skin. Given that these were the key pain points that I identified along the user journey, I had to think about what technology could solve these problems. And as such, Clear as we know it was born. Clear addresses these problems with two key features: a skincare routine tracker and a social platform. The routine tracker allows people to log their skincare routines and choose products directly from our database with over 13,000 products. So it's super easy, you just search for the product you use and more often than not it will come up. If you do use something that you've made yourself or from a more indie brand, you can add it as a custom product, in which you can add a photo, you can fill in all the details, and so it will still look nice and pretty in your diary. You can also add progress selfies from all angles. So I know for me, I tend to break out along my cheeks and jawline. So we have a mesh on our camera that lets you take one from the front and one on either side. And you can also take notes. So let's say on a particular day your skin felt really dry and itchy, or maybe on another day it felt really nice and hydrated. You can note these down for your own future reference. And what this does is it allows you to see how your skin was doing when you were using certain products. And as you try new things and your routine changes, you have some sort of log of how your skin used to look when using one set of products and how it now looks with your new routine. Then each user on the Clear app has tags associated with their profile, and these tags refer to that individual's skin type and skin concerns. So for me, for example, my tags include acne, dehydrated, hyperpigmentation, dry, as they reflect my skin type and the concerns that I have. Then the app allows you to search people by their tags. So let's say you only want to see other people who have acne-prone skins, questions and reviews and general updates. You can choose to just follow those accounts. And if you do want to see more broader reviews and questions, you're still able to do that on the app. But in an effort to avoid too much information on your feed, you can be selective about the accounts you follow and whose advice you want to see first and foremost. The social feature also allows you to tag products, which again just makes it really easy to know what people are talking about, and at an instant, if you tap on the product in the app, you'll see all the information about the product that you need to know. So you'll see its ingredients list, a brief overview, how to use it, what people are saying about it, pictures, ratings, where you can buy it, and for some products we even offer a price comparison between retailers. So we're there to make the experience of buying skincare really easy too. Now, the thing that makes Clear really cool, and is my favorite aspect of the app, is that the product logs in your routine are actually public. So don't worry, your unflattering progress selfies will never be shared, and neither will your notes. But the products that you input into your routine, they will be shown on your profile. The purpose of doing this is so that you can see what someone else is actually using. So let's say I want to know what somebody else who also has acne-prone but dry skin uses. I can go in onto their profile, I can see what they're talking about in their posts and questions and reviews. But if I want to see what they're actually doing day in, day out that's working for them, I can click on the routine section of their profile and actually see how consistent they've been and which exact products they've been using. This also helps to address another issue that people in the skincare community face, which is that it's often hard to judge the authenticity of an online skincare review, as the first thing is you don't know who's written it. And I don't just mean their credentials, but even their skin type. What might work for someone with dry skin probably won't work with someone for oily skin, and unless they're disclosing their skin type and giving loads of information about themselves, you probably won't know how relevant their feedback is for your own skin type. However, if you can see that a person has actually been using a given product in their routine day in, day out, and then they leave a product review, it brings more authenticity and transparency to the reviews that people leave online, and then it's up to you to form your conclusion about how much you trust that individual person's opinion on a product. Another big reason for making the product logs public is that on various social media platforms, and very commonly on Facebook and on Reddit, people are asking each other what their routines are, and people want to find ways of sharing their routine with other people, and there's just no nice way of doing it. Currently, people's solutions are to either just type everything out and write an essay, or they have to take individual pictures of every single product they use, or they have to go online, find the links to all these different products in different places, or they do things like film videos. And these are all really high effort solutions to what is quite a simple problem. And given that our app lets you see very quickly what somebody else is using, this could be the difference between somebody getting the skincare advice they need or continuing to do something wrong in their routine that just goes unnoticed and they continue to suffer with the skin concern that they have. The third important thing about making routines public is that it helps users with accountability. Skincare only works if you're consistent, and results just don't appear overnight. If you know that your friends follow you and can see whether you've logged your routine or not, it might help you be more consistent, which ultimately will help your own skin. There is no other product like this on the market, and I've tried some of the routine tracking apps that are available on the App Store. But the problem is that you can just tell that they've been made by some great software engineers who just don't know skincare. And this shows because for some of them in the product log, you have to manually write everything out, in which case you might as well just use your Notes app. And for those that do have product databases, they're just not comprehensive enough because they don't know which brands people actually use and what products people want in their diaries. And that's just on the tracking side. On the social side, there is no single platform that offers the social skincare experience that we do. And it's astonishing to me because 98% of Gen Z, including myself, have learnt about skincare through social media. And the fact that there wasn't already a social media platform optimized for skincare content honestly just baffles me. So this is the first public version of our app, Clear. Of course, we're continuously iterating and adding new features, and from now onwards we'll be having fortnightly app releases with all the new features listed. So whether you're a skincare enthusiast like me, or someone at the beginning of your skincare journey like my co-founder, I'd love for you to download Clear and share your thoughts on it. I've linked our website in the description box down below, and that has links to both the Android and App Store downloads. And it's completely free to download, free to use, there's no hidden payments or anything like that anywhere. And I would really love to get your honest, brutal feedback on it because it honestly helps so much. So if you want it to be anonymous, there's an inbuilt feedback and reporting form in the app itself. Or if you're happy for your name to be tied to it, please feel free to message me on LinkedIn with your feedback. And I promise I won't be offended, I can take feedback. And truly, I just want to reiterate, it really does help us with the iteration process and making this the best experience for us and for our users. I mentioned this in my last update video, but we've got some super exciting things in our pipeline, particularly with regards to a fintech offering that we may be providing very soon. I'll talk about this more in my next video, which is the 3-month update. But essentially, my vision for Clear is to be the go-to platform for skincare. I want it to be the best way of discovering what to use, the best way of buying skincare, and the best way of managing and maintaining your routine. Our app currently handles the first and the last. We help you find which skincare to use, and we help you maintain and track your routine. And although in the app it's really easy to see where these products are sold, you don't get a particularly special buying experience with Clear as it is currently. But the next step of our pipeline is making Clear the best, and most importantly, the cheapest way of buying skincare. Having dealt with skin issues for such a long time and having them really affect my self-esteem, I really hope that Clear can bring some transparency to the world of skincare and help other people like me who are still trying to figure out how to deal with their skin. And even for those who haven't had an acute skin concern like I have and view skincare as a matter of self-care or even as personal hygiene, Clear can still help you find the products that are suitable for your needs and empower you to make informed decisions in what is such a heavily marketed industry. Again, I've linked our website down below, which has links to the free iOS and Android downloads. Do also feel free to comment your Clear username down below and I'll follow you back, as I'm super keen to see which products you guys are using too. Thank you so much for watching my videos and supporting my channel. I'm so grateful for the support and so happy that we launched the app on time. And I can't wait for all of you to try it. Okay, that's all for this one. Please like this video if you enjoyed watching and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.